Hi everyone, welcome to the workshop sessions for the Playful School Conference on Outdoor Education and Play. My name is Darren. I'm the principal of Forest School Singapore. So let me bring you through a little bit of things to take note. I have put in the comment sections some things to take note for you as a reference. So welcome to put in your comments in the section as I share. All right. Okay, so I will begin. So my sharing, I represent Forest School Singapore, and my sharing is about a space between the earth and the stars. So do have a pen and paper with you for this session. Also, you're welcome to comment and ask questions in the live event Q&A over here in the live stream system. I will address it at the end of the session at the last slide. So thanks for understanding. So let's begin. Before we start, I would like to put our recognition of the Orang Lawats, the indigenous people of our land and sea in Singapore. Orang Lawat means the people of the sea, and they are a crucial element, group, community that is very important to the work that I do as well as my community. We do in terms of outdoor learning, outdoor education, play, and being part of the environment, being part of the land of Singapore. So it is crucial that we give recognition to the people of the land, the indigenous people of the land, first and foremost, before I begin any of the sharing of our workshops. Okay. And so a little bit about me before I go on in my sharing. As you know, my name is Darren, and I've been in education for the past 15 to 17 years. I have been a sports educator largely, teaching physical development, physical education, and I used to work in a private education group as a head of division as well for physical education. So that's where a lot of my foundation is built on. And I would like to share with everyone that I'm probably the least qualified in terms of paper and documentation and certification person. I only have the Forest School Practitioner Certification that I've earned in UK, as well as a coach certification, sports coaching certification that I got in Singapore. However, a lot of my learning and growth and journey has been done through apprenticeship, and I have many amazing mentors and teachers that have guided me along the way, and some of them are children themselves. So these two individuals, Sebastian and Mikoto, are my teachers as well. They taught me a lot about children, about kids with special needs, about the community, about connection, about relationship. And I take pride in that. I learn best from experience, from stories, and from people and relationship. And right now, I am the principal of Forest School Singapore, leading the movement of Forest School in Singapore as well as in the region. I also help to support a lot of the Forest School and nature and outdoor education that's in Singapore and around the region as much as I can and I know. Right, so that's about me. And let me begin on a very simple question, which I love to ask everyone. What is Forest School? I mean, you could go to Google, you could use ChatGPT, and you could get plenty of answers in online. And oh, wait, give me a minute. I have a few more questions. Okay, sorry about it. Managing the system. And we have many of these questions being asked. What is Forest School, right? You could Google, you could ChatGPT, you could ChatGPT probably give a really close enough answer. But I'd like to bring it deeper and share with everyone the elements of forest school that I learned and through experience, through practicing it, through reflecting upon it, through building that relationship with the community, children, environment, and in a way realize the Singapore version of it, which is very in tune with our land. And there's this. It is nature-led, child-led, and context-led. These are the three pillars of our forest school approach, forest school Singapore approach, that we hold very precious to us, and we like to share with everyone. And I'm going to share with you the whole story through a really, let me put it this way, story-based. Right? I love to share in stories. I think there are enough point forms in PowerPoint slides for people to really muse about. So I would love to do it in story, and which is what I'm going to do today for everyone who's attending this workshop with me. All right. So the first thing I will bring you guys to, of course, is the first pillar of our approach, which is nature-led. And it is very in tune with the relationship of nature and connection. So this is the story. This is the story of our protector, the tree swing. So the protector, our tree swing, she has been around for close to 15 years, actually more than 15 years. So our protector, the tree swings, is located in Dairy Farm Nature Park in Singapore. This is by a village, a kampong village, that is situated with some residents living nearby as well. And so one of the residents, we love to call him Professor C, planted the tree swing 15 years ago, more than 15 years ago, and has grown to this big 15-meter tall tree that is now protecting the space in a lot of ways. And forest school, we do dwell among the spaces of the forest numerically in Singapore. And so the tree swing is one of the locations that the children absolutely love. The kids could climb on the tree swing, they could hang on the branches, they would hug them. Sometimes they will massage them with their own ways of the kids. What's interesting is how the relationship of the tree, the children, ourselves as a community is like. It is not so much just a living being that we recognize scientifically. More than that, it is something that is dear to our heart, dear to many of the children's heart, dear to many of the coaches, ourselves as practitioners, as well as the resident living nearby. It's so dear that we even, myself and Professor C, we also kind of hang a swing on it, which is why it's named the tree swing, because it has a swing on it, and we kind of build it with the permission of the tree, of course. And it really connects with us because the tree has its own personality. And through little things we notice, we learn to respect her boundaries, her space as well, as much as she respects our space and boundaries and interaction. So one of the things that tend to happen time to time is that the tree swing, our protector, will have ants climbing all over her at times, which is a very clear indicator for the kids, like, hey, it's not time to not touch me. Do not touch me. Today, I do not want to be climbed, do not want to be touched. And it's really clear for the kids, you put your hands, or even for us, you put your hands on it, you get bitten by the ants. The ants do bite. Those ants on the tree swing do bite. And it's a very simple understanding of boundaries and paying attention to the interaction. And on days where the tree swing herself, the space around her is, you can see the wear and tear around the space around her because we are in presence there. Kids move around. In Singapore, the soil do wash off quite quickly. Wear and tear do happen quite quickly in a tropical environment, humid tropical environment. So the tree swing, during those days, we will actually give space to the tree to let it rest And I think that is very aligned with the learnings that I made with the indigenous people in Singapore as well as around the world, which is how to recognize, how to have that relationship with the space enough to pay attention to the adjustment we need to make. And I do really appreciate the opportunity I get while practicing for a school to build that relationship. And so that's the story of our protector, the tree swing. And next is the relationship of friendship and play. Key elements of a human life that often get forgotten in our buzz and grind in the modern world. However, in child-led practice, which is letting the children lead the way, letting the participants, letting the community lead the way through their interests, through what they want to do, through how they want to do it, we build a relationship with each other. It's a very natural relationship that we build with each other. What's interesting is this relationship has this element of friendship and play. So I would like to tell you the story of the Orang Asli. Why? How the Orang Asli children grow up will really blow our mind, because right now I'm giving you a conference, this workshop sharing at Playful School Conference. And when I interacted with the Orang Asli many years ago, one of the guides, because I spent 4 days, 3 nights in the forest, one of the guides who was Orang Asli, his name was Farhan, as I could remember, he took care of me, took care of my meals, as well as where I could camp out in 4 days, 3 nights. And I was very curious, as an educator, I asked him, how did the indigenous people, how did the tribe people in the past, we're talking about thousands of years ago, before civilization, how do these people actually educate their young? How do they raise their young? And you know what's interesting? He shared with me that their children play growing up. That's how they learn. That's how they learn about boundaries. That's how they learn about people. That's how they learn about the relationship they have within their community and with the environment. They play. And so it's child-led play. It's really letting the kids be themselves while the adults go about their life. And if we think about it, we drag ourselves to think about the memories and the history of our upbringing. Many of us probably remember some elements of that where we could do what we want while the adults, hang around, do their thing. There wasn't very clear, distinct, driven objective or goal for the children. It is a space of freedom, of play. However, the kids do at some point start to want to pursue further. For example, in the Orang Asli tribes, they have hunters, they have foragers, they have fishermen, there are people who are part of the community, that take care of the daily living of the community, and they do things, right? They do certain so-called job in our modern day, as we call it, but the roles. The kids, while playing, they observe these roles and they picked up on it. And I think what's interesting is as they observe, they play, while they play, they could observe and they could download what is going on around them in the environment and community. So much so that when they reach, so what Farhan said was around the age of 12, right? Where the body is in shape, that they start coming, sorry, somebody say I'm breaking. Okay, take note of that. Okay, coming back. I will slow down a little bit. So Farhan told me that, at around age of 12, the kid starts to pick up a particular skill or role of the community. And they will go to the individuals in the community who play that role to learn from them specifically and carry out those functions and roles in the so-called society of the indigenous people. And I think that's really quite a beautiful and powerful understanding for me at that moment, because if the indigenous people who for thousands of years before civilization understood this and raised our children this way, can we ourselves do that? I think it's absolutely possible. Can we let child-led be the way to go about learning and growing? I think it's very possible. So that's the relationship of friendship and play. So now, let me take a pause. Everyone take a pause here. And I would like to ask all of you a question. Through the previous sharing I just made, from the stories to the introduction, what caught your eye in the sharing, the first part of our sharing? I would like you to write or draw your answer on the paper. You're welcome to share it. I will use the system to publish some of it. Some of it are old or new. I will still publish. All right, and probably address it at the end as well. So welcome to make a comments on the Q&A section. Feel free. What caught your eye in the sharing, really? What do you observe? What really, the first thing, if I ask you the question, the first thing that comes to you, what caught your eye in the sharing? Okay, give you a little bit of time. Okay. And second part of my reflection, I would like to ask you is, why did that observation or the thing that caught your eye, why did that matter to you? I think it's a lot to do with bringing connection to our emotion or memories. That's how we observe things in our life as well, right? So why did that matter to you? So two questions. What caught your eye in the first part of the sharing, and why did that matter to you? Okay. So with that, take your time, digest a little bit, give you a bit of time on it. Okay. All right. Now to the second part of my sharing. I came here to do a outdoor education and play sharing, right? And as my synopsis have shared, benefits, challenges, etc. So I think it's really important for me to go through with all of you here, not to go through, I mean to share with you the benefits of play and outdoor education. However, I would like to say, I believe most of you here who are in attendance, who even sign up for this conference, would have already some basic understanding of the benefits and have read some research reports or some work or articles or pages or descriptions that talk about the benefits of play and outdoor education. It goes from physical health to mental health, emotional. It reaches far and wide beyond almost every aspect of elements of life. And the list goes on, The list really goes on. It's absolutely amazing to see if you were to research and you Google this huge amount of knowledge, materials, and proof of the benefits. However, things are not that simple in the context of different countries, different culture, different land, different people, different spaces. And that's where I'm going to go to in the last part of my sharing, which is the element of the context that we have in Singapore. So I'd like to share with you a little program that we did. It's called the Let's Get Outside. We did a program with a collaboration with the Early Childhood Agency in Singapore, as well as a preschool called Hampton Preschool. These are the details of the program, as you can read it off. We did it in 2017. And what's interesting is the kids came and it was kind of embedded in with a lot of research. So the team that was involved in this project did a whole research. And so the research data and information collected through this project was a very local Singapore based data and knowledge that is in relation with forest school and our practice. So, and this is the context that we're in. This is a project that we did. Sorry, let me share things on the system. Okay, so the context that we are facing is different in Singapore, and the research has shown, right? The benefits are the same, all that, but the context is really different. And I would like to share with you this story on the story of the Kingfisher and the worksheet. This story is true. By the way, all the previous story are true as well. It happened. And this story happened in 2019. Um, it was our group of weekday homeschool children who comes to forest school every week. So this group of children, we call them the Thornville Thursday. So the Thornville Thursday kids were dwelling in the Dairy Farm Nature Park area where there was a little lake, right, with many trees that surround the lake. And the kids love to play in that area. And in that area, there's also a lot of birds. We have the stock-billed kingfisher, as well as the usual collared kingfisher, um, our white-bellied seagulls, you name it, we have it, the birds of the forest and the space, as well as fishes in the lake, etc. So there's this stock-bill that was perched on the tree that day, right, on the branch of the tree, overlooking the lake. And he was, his head swiveling, looking out for the fish. You could see he was in motion, but he didn't take any action. And the kids were still playing, around beside the lake. But he was not disturbing the stockbill for sure at the moment, because the stockbill was very focused. So what happened was, as our kids were playing, there was another group of kids who came along. And so this group of kids were from the tuition, the typical in Singapore, typical academic tuition or enrichment or after school center. And they came along with their worksheet in their hands, right? And they were looking at some of these signboard or notice board talking about the sciences of nature, and they were writing down answers on the worksheets. And the teacher was talking about the knowledge from the board and things like that. And you could see them focus on the board, right? But our kids were just kind of playing, being really quite crazy and wild, I would call it, in our urban kind of definition. And the kids' ears perked up. Forest school kids' ears perked up when the stop bill made its call. It made a call. And the kids kind of ears perked up. They knew something was going to happen soon. They turned around, they faced the stop bill, and they moved toward the stock bill gradually, and the stock bill came off the perch of the branch, dived into the water, and fished out, humped out the fish from the water and went back to its tree. It was a National Geographic kind of moment. The kids were mesmerized. I was mesmerized. My coaches who was on site that day were mesmerized. We were all in woo and ah. And then I turned around, right? And I saw the group of kids with their worksheet. They were still looking at their worksheet. They were still absorbed with their worksheet. They didn't even pay attention to what's going on there. Even with the call, with the commotion of our kids and people, they were absorbed with the worksheet. In that very moment, the realization came to me, the importance of what we do. Our kids are wild and free, maybe. But they had what we call open attention, right? Where even amongst play, they are able to pick up what's going on around them. And I think that's really important in our modern world, because we can get so absorbed with what we do, adults or children, that sometimes we are not aware of what's going on with the people around us, in their relationship, or this situation that they are in. My faith in our kids, forest school kids, is that they will be able to be aware of what's going on with their peers or their friends or community around them, because they have that sense of open attention. It has been activated in them. They are aware, and they can be playing, they can be involved and focused, and yet still aware. And I think that's a really amazing kind of element of the children in a context-led situation. Because let's be honest, we are not living in a cave. We're not in the caveman era. And neither are we following the indigenous people to the dot where they live absolutely with the wild. We're modern city people, and that's the context. That's the context of Singapore, right? And so, I would like to bring you down then. Our challenges. In the context of Singapore, right, our challenge is that because we are urban, we are a country with 5.5 million to 6 million population, but our land size is about the size of, if I were to put it in an understandable term for everyone here, most of you with many countries from around the world, you have vacation islands that you guys can go to for holiday. Singapore's land size is probably the size of your vacation island. We are that small, but we have 5 million people plus 5 million plus people. And so that's quite crazy to put everybody together, right? Therefore, the space we have are limited and urbanization effects are higher. So there's a huge amount of disconnection. Fortunately or unfortunately, that's how the country is run and the context is like. We are safe, a very safe country, but very, very severely controlled country as well. So it's a give and take situation. Then that's our challenge, right? We have a disconnected public and people that we have to work on. And the community out there is as such. And for us in Forest School to be able to kind of help build that space, to hold that space for people to be able to be connected once more again is very crucial. And we're not talking just about children, we are talking about parents, we're talking about the coaches, my staff, we are talking about the stakeholders, we are talking about the rangers that we meet, we're talking about the other outreach of communities in schools and ministries that we are talking about. We are holding that space, and it's not easy. I would say that's why it's our challenge in our context. And the space limitation is sometimes crazy enough that, you know, I will receive certain amount of fines and legal issues because of certain infringement, because the space is just so limited. There is no space to really venture so far. We have to work within that space that we are given in Singapore, right? But I think I would be very proud of our community in Singapore in Forest School, because right now in Singapore we have about 60 Forest School, different practices, different way of doing for sure, but all revolving around the context that we have, which is Singapore, how Singapore is like. And I think that's a very important journey that we are embarking on. There are challenges, as is nature, but it's important that we journey through these challenges, facing it bravely, and not necessarily avoiding it. And I think that is the challenge. And this challenge, very interestingly, nourishes the process of Forest School, because these challenges are the context. And when we talk about context-led, the last pillar of Forest School Singapore, context-led approach, this is the context. And how do we work with it? How do we brave about it? How do children, ourselves, parents, practitioners, community come together is the context as well. So with that, I would like to, I don't know why my bar got this. With that, I would like to share with with that, I would like to get everyone once more to pause, ask yourself the question again. What caught your eye in the sharing? Once more, take a pen and paper, you can write it down. If you would like me to share, you're welcome to share with me. Give me a minute of time, because I need to use the system, or learn to use the system. Okay, right. So next will be the same question again. Why did that matter to you? So I would like you to observe the sharing, pick up upon reflection, and find that connection. What caught your eye in the sharing? The observation. What caught your eye? Why did that matter to you? It's you bringing that connection for yourself. Okay. And with that, I'm going to skip this. by the way, because the video is not working. If you would like to, you can go. I'm pretty sure it's not working. Yeah. Okay. So with that, I would like to share with you all a message of wisdom from my Japanese forest school mentor. The true purpose of forest school is to help bring people to a space between the earth and the stars. Atsuko Yamamoto. And with that, I'd like to thank everybody. You can go to our website, forestschoolsingapore.com, to find out about things that we do. And you can go to our library, forestschool.educationseries.wordpress.com, to browse through and enjoy the readings. We have about 160 readings locally made by ourselves, as well as many of our coaches and community members. In terms of forest school, in terms of nature, in terms of activistic work with children, education, environment, living, right? And so with that, I would come to the live event Q&A. Oh, sorry, I think someone asked, can you share the video link here for later? Sure. Let me get to it after I clear all the comments. Wait, give me a bit of time. Okay, so Becky Haozon, are there Twitter handles we can use to share this on social? We don't have a Twitter account. We do have Instagram and Facebook. So similarly, I will share those links later on below. Let me write down as a note first, so that I'll get to it near the end. Do not worry. Facebook. Okay, and sorry, let me clear one by one first. Okay, next we have, does land scarcity cause tension between Forest School Singapore and the government? I wouldn't say the government. I would say yes, it causes tension between us and some of the authorities managing some of the parks and reserve. It has been quite a journey for me in terms of this engagement. And I would say we do have tension, and I think it's important to have this tension. I like to use the analogy of a dance. It's important that we do it as a dance, taking steps forward and backwards, time to time, both sides. And at times we would step on each other's feet, pretty much it. But for a good cause, of course. But however, this tension creates music at the end of the day, because the dance itself creates that harmony over time. And I believe all of us would have danced a little bit before in our life, and we know that at the beginning it will never be perfect if we are doing a duet. It's over time and with the chemistry and understanding and connection that we build this harmony. So this tension is a crucial, I would say, element. Though I must admit, honestly, it's not very pleasant for me all the time, but it is worth it. Okay, and next, what do you think are the essentials for kindergarten forest school? Essential, I would say that it's important that we bring together people and have the community be involved in how it's made. I would not say there's anything particularly essential. I'll give you a very good example. I've heard of a school that is based on this environment. It's called the Cave School, and it was in Iraq because there's bombing on the land, on top. They can't do it on top. They go to the underneath the ground. So if you ask me as nature, it has to be in forest, greens, nature, organic material, all that. I think I will push it further to say that if everything we have around us, the whole universe is nature, then how are we going to do it, right? It's important then to have that relationship with the community to bring it further. Okay. I hope that answers your question. If you have more questions, you're welcome to email me through our website. You can find out my email. Anna and Cheta say I'm breaking. I hope I didn't break further after I addressed that. Christine and Emma say respecting boundaries and building a relationship with the space. And I think you picked up that. Thank you for sharing. Anna and Cheta once more. I really like the idea of the tree swing. The connection between nature and children through play makes learning interesting. Thank you for sharing. And once more, Anna, you can connect your science, maths, art, etc. just by learning about the tree itself. Absolutely. You can even connect. We even have situation in forest school where the monkeys was able to teach us about sex education. Very interesting. And Louis, what do you think are the essential? Oh, sorry, it's a big question. And Lucas, the Facebook video link. Okay, sorry, the YouTube link. YouTube link. Okay. Pardon me, I gotta rush because people are okay. I got a few more. I'm gonna publish all your posts. Let's go. Okay. Estelle Ash, observation is a thread that is catching my eye. Observation of the tree and the boundaries. Observation of the indigenous people and their approach and the ease of observation when the playing children stop to watch the bird. Thank you. Thank you. I hope that it's a great take back. And once more. I like the geographic moment story. I agree that sometimes as a teacher, we are so-called on papers for students to work on. I like the idea of the open attention activator. You will love the article, Anna, that is written by Carol Black called something about wilderness. Carol Black, if you would go and search. Jen, I take away the connection to nature is more than just recognizing the tree as a living thing. It is about mutual respect. The tree respect us, protect us, and respect the tree. Love this. Thank you, Jen. How is play initiated in primary school? Well, first and foremost, we gotta let the kids be. If you ask me, we need to let our children be. And a lot of times, when they do their thing, they get absorbed. You can see in their face. I would say, for me, I always observe the children's expression, and you see that eyes light up. That's when they are playing. And what's interesting is they can be learning something, and their eyes is lighting up. They are also playing, which is why play is probably very crucial foundationally for all of us, because it's the moment where our brain connects so well to the experience. So, I mean, I'll draw the line really far and say, you can be doing an assessment book and be playing, and that's possible because you just need to be able to observe the expression of the children. But if their expression are not in that state, I'm not saying 100% of the time, but there must be pockets. But if for a very long period of time, these children are not in that state of excitement, then there is probably an issue that we need to address. Because if for a prolonged period of time that continues, I think we were heading ourselves to quite a disturbing situation mentally and emotionally. All right. And last but not least, anonymous. Ooh, okay. I need to check this. Okay. What caught my eye was that indigenous people allow their children to play and learn. It's amazing that today the benefits of relationships and play are essential across culture. Absolutely. Thanks for the sharing. Anonymous. Okay. Let me share with you the links quickly, very, very quickly, as much as I can draw the link. Honestly, if not, you go to our website. You can find a lot of it. Facebook, Instagram links, and the YouTube video is actually right on our website. You click on our website, at the homepage, you'll see it, all right? So I will just probably then therefore type in the website. That has that. Okay. Here you go. Schoolsingapore.com. Hope that helps everyone. Right. Cool. So thank you everyone for coming, and your questions and comments, absolutely precious. I'm taking it back with me, back to Singapore. And I'll be sharing a lot of the insights from the whole Playful conference as well along the way on our IG. All right. So thank you so much.